Alright, so we're going to start today laying all the way down. So I'm going to get you to come onto your back. Or maybe pad a blanket there if you want it. If you've got like hair ties, take them out so that the neck is neutral. And then just walk your feet to the outer edges of the mat, just enough so that the knees can knock into the midline. So you've got a little bit of internal rotation there with the legs. Just take a moment here to feel the weight of your body on the earth, like feel into, like as soon as I lay on the floor, I just get this sense of, oh, finally I don't need to be upright for an hour, I can just let the whole weight of the earth hold my body. And then bring your hands to your ribs. So it doesn't really matter where, you can have your hands at the side or the top or just wherever it feels comfortable to have your hands resting. And just start to work with the natural breath, so we're not controlling anything, we're not forcing anything just yet. Just want to start to feel like the ribs are moving in and out, pretty natural rhythm. Start to get this sense across the back of the body, like the whole of the back of the body is kind of leaning into the earth, like this sense of allowing ourselves to be held, like there's something there supporting us. I'm just going to start to bring the nervous system down a little bit. So start to work with the breath where we're basically doubling the length of the exhale compared to the inhale. So I'm going to cue the count in, 4, out, 8. But if for you that's just way too intense, like it's really forcing the breath, drop it down to in 3, out 6, or in 2, out 4, or just find a rhythm of your breath that is it's comfortable, because again we want to keep that kind of easiness of breath. Let's just take a breath in together. And a breath out together. Inhale through the nose for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through the mouth for 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale nose, 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale mouth, 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now keep counting for yourself here. So inhale is half the length of the exhale. And then as you breathe in, see your breath moving down the spine as it begins to innervate each nerve ending along the spine. And then as the exhale breath moves up the spine again, just feel it touching to each vertebrae as it moves out on the breath out. Inhale, you feel the breath move down the spine, touching into those places what feel particularly tight or grippy today. And then exhale, feeling the breath move back up the spine. Using that breath to carry the tension from the back of the body. And just keep going on this way, like seeing your breath move up and down your spine as you breathe in and out. Being aware of counting your breath and doubling the exhale. Just notice how you start to focus on the breath, how all of the external noise begins to at least reduce a little. Things aren't quite so intense, I guess. Let's do one more round counting and then allow your breath just to resume its natural rhythms. Nothing too intense, nothing too crazy. And then slowly from there start to extend your legs down so that you're in a Shavasana-like position. So in your arms pressed by your side and your chin tucked back of the neck long. Just let your body rest on the earth there for a moment. And then gradually rolling over onto one side. Just take a moment there, just resisting the urge to rush on up. And slowly, we're just going to make our way up to seated. And we're going to start tonight with half saddle. So we're going to get into the hip flexors a little bit. Now, if you have a bolster or you can prop yourself somehow, you can have a bolster, you can also have a block supporting the bolster there. I'm just kind of making do with what you've got. This can be completely unpropped as well, so it doesn't matter if you don't have that stuff. And then we're going to start with the left knee bent. So the right leg will be extended. And if you're working without props, you can work just maybe like so with your hands on the floor. Let your body get used to that, and then maybe you might come down onto your elbows and, gradually as the pose progresses, you move deeper or not. And if you do have the support of a bolster, you can come back onto the bolster there. And remember, with your foot, you can have your heel underneath your butt, you can have it out to the side, and any other way that feels supportive for you. So targeting just the top of the hip flexor on the left side. You might get into the quad there, you might feel it in the lower back. But essentially, we want to feel as supported as possible in this pose. So taking an option that allows you to to kind of rest. I'm just such a fan of a more restorative approach to this practice, particularly when times are feeling pretty stressful. Want to minimise the amount of stress on the body and just allow for that down regulation. And once you're in the shape, wherever that may be for you today, you can work either with your natural breath, so just allowing for the natural rhythm to move in and out. If you feel as though counting the breath is helpful, it's a tool to help you feel less stressed, then you can always go back to counting the breath in and out. So in 4, out 8, or in 3, out 6. And really, this practice is about offering up a period of time in our day to still the body so we can feel what's moving through us. When we're constantly on the go and we're constantly moving and we're distracted with life and all of the things, it's really easy to neglect the less active aspects of our body. And even that act of taking the time just to stay still for a number of minutes as we allow for the kind of rest and repair phase of our body. I often notice when we still the body how active the mind really is. Again, it's just about acknowledging that part, not trying to change it, not trying to stop your mind working. Just holding still in this moment as it begins to reduce the thoughts. Just over a minute left here. And again, it's not necessarily about changing anything, but just observing if there's room to go deeper, or perhaps there's a request from your body to not go so deep. It's just a check-in. Just keep meeting those edges, but comfortably. So there's no stress on the body, no strain. From there, just transitioning over onto the straight leg. Like roll over onto one side there and just release the bent leg. So if you're on a prop, you can stay there. If you need to move it, come down onto your back for a moment. And just allow for the tension to move through the left side of the leg. Like notice what you feel from left to right. For me, there's this whole sense of movement, of energy on one side of the body. Just feel the blood moving back through bones, the joints. Okay, let's transition to the other side. So I usually roll over onto the left there, bending the right knee, maybe rearranging the props or whatever you need in order to just feel into that little bit of opening through the top of the right hip flexor. You might get down into the right quad, maybe the top of the right knee. And allowing for the differences from side to side. And noticing how one knee may be lifted more than the other, or perhaps the pelvis tilts a little bit more on this side. You don't necessarily need to change anything, but just notice where you carry tension on one side of the body. Perhaps you're aware of this as you move through your day tomorrow, as this balancing out the tension on both sides. We're balanced physically, we're balanced mentally, we're balanced emotionally. It all starts in the physical. Being balanced, it's like balanced in all aspects of our life, like how we balance our time in work, that moderation of things we indulge in, balancing what we eat, balancing our moods, all these things that are intertwined. And we start by bringing balance in the body, the most obvious place. Start to notice certain aspects of the down regulation in your body. So you might notice that you're yawning a little more, or perhaps like there's a few sighs, like all those things that indicate that the nervous system is changing from this really high, vigilant, like upregulated state, which is not bad. But it's the area of the state where we tend to function most of our day. And start to feel the shifting gears as we move into the more down-regulating, the more kind of healing aspect of our nervous system. And we need both. We need to be able to go between the two. Again, just like beginning stages of the transition. Start to roll your body onto one side. Bring your legs straight. And this time, if you are using props, just move the props away. So you get that opportunity to come all the way down onto your back. Again, just get that sense of being held by the earth, like the whole weight of your body as it rests here. Right. So coming on up to seated, so however you need to get there. We're going to make our way into frog pose. So there's a number of different ways you can do this. I'll show you from the side. So you can take the knees out wide and having the shins parallel. Like just make sure you've got a mat under your knees, unlike me. That's one option. If that's a bit too intense, you can always bring your heels together. So we're really just targeting the inner groin. And again, if this gets in there for you, that's absolutely great. You can do that. Heels together a little bit more comfortable for some people. And if you want a bit more of a restorative version, then obviously you've got your bolster. Just make sure the bolster's like supporting your torso and not your pelvis. You still want like a gap there through the pelvis. And it's really just resting from your pubic bone up. So I have one cheek to the side and then change halfway. And the other alternative, if knees are a situation for you, or you just need something that's less intense, you can come up onto the wall like so. So you've still got a frog position. You might need to scoot your pelvis away from the wall a little bit. And you can just have your arms out to the side there. So again, it's just about choosing the version that really works for you in terms of what you need. Like if you've got a little bit more in you, taking a deeper version perhaps. If it's a less intense day for you, practice accordingly. So just give you a minute to get in there and we'll pop the timer on. I'm going to hold this for a little bit longer than the previous. So if you're on a bolster, we'll let you know when it's halfway so you can turn your head the other way. Again, whether or not you're on a bolster or not, it's allowing whatever it is that you're leaning into, whether that's the floor, whether that is the bolster, another prop you may be working with. This whole notion in Yin that we're surrendering to this effortlessness, there's really no trying to get anywhere. So just notice this first minute as you get and arrive in the pose and you start to feel in for where you're at today. Just sort of scan the body and feel in for that energy of effort, like where you might actually be be trying to go to a place that's just not available today. What we want to feel into is this like own, it's like an organic release rate. Everybody's body is a different rate. And what we're simply doing is just allowing ourselves to lean into our rate, to the rate that works for us. So we're about halfway. Again, if you're on a bolster or another prop where you've got one cheek there, changing cheeks. Maybe just nodding in. See where there's this resistance to releasing, like where you might be holding semi-consciously, not fully aware that you're gripping. Look for areas, particularly around the inner thighs, the outer hips, the back teeth, the belly. And choose the breath to help those areas feel like they can release, like nothing will happen if they let go. And without moving at all, just starting to prepare the body to move. Maybe taking a breath in, that final let go as you breathe out. And just slowly, slowly, so take your time. Start to move your body out, and you can do two things here. So you can come down onto your belly, which some people like. You might take that option. Just resting your arms either up by your head or down by your side. Let the heels flop open. You can lay down on your back. Been on the wall, maybe taking your legs up the wall. Breath or two there. And then making your way up to seated, and we'll come onto the back. So we're going to work into legs in a strap. Grabbing either a strap or whatever it is you've got there. And come all the way down onto the back. Let's start with both knees bent here. I'm going to take the left leg up to start with, so the strap can come across the arch of the foot. And then what I like to do is it's like you're like holding the reins of a horse. So you walk your hands all the way up the strap until your arms are straight. And then the idea is that you just let your arms hang off the strap, so there's no effort in your arms whatsoever. Like if your elbows are resting on the floor, there's a tendency to activate your arms there, so keep them lifted. And then of course you can keep your leg like so, or you can start to extend your right leg down towards the bottom of the mat. So it just depends how tight your hamstrings are and what you've got available in your body. I'm going to be holding this one for a really long time, but long enough to just feel into the release at the back of the leg line there, which works into the kidney meridian, which is closely connected to the adrenal glands, which, as we know, when we're stressed, get really depleted. If they're not restored and repaired and replenished, then eventually adrenal fatigue. So just taking that necessary prevention is better than the cure. And maybe just seeing your breath move through the back of the leg line as you breathe. Quality of energy into your body that helps repair little glands that sit just on top of the kidneys. A lot of this work is really, seeing where we can send our attention to internally. So we think about the internal organs, things that we can't see, like the biceps and our butt. We start to cultivate this internal health. If your legs quivering, just let your leg quiver. That's often a sign that we've got excess vata energy in the body, which is the energy that's quite disturbing for the mind. It can feel like we're really unable to focus, we're easily distracted, and so let the shaking happen as a way of the body dispersing this energy. Just a couple more breaths here. And from there, slowly release the strap, allow the leg to lower down. Just pause there with both legs extended and notice the back of the left leg in comparison to the right. Notice what you feel, what you don't feel. Quality of energy running through your body. And taking the right leg up there. I always like to start with the left knee bent as well, just so that I can not just assume that this side will be the same as the other. I'm going to get the hands again wrapped in the strap all the way up to the foot. The chin is tucked, the neck is long. You might decide that you'll stay with the knee bent on this side. You might start to extend the leg down, feeling into, again, just what's available on this side and being truthful with ourselves of where that is. And not just needing everything to be the same as the other side just because. Being really curious and inquiring into what is really available in our body. Get to know the language of our body a little more. Again, letting the arms relax and notice the tension that wants to creep up and the grabbing and the pulling that's just so habitual. Over and over we have to train the body to do the opposite. Slowly moving the strap away there. Take your time to lower the leg down. Just let your feet extend. Allowing the energy to move up the back of the body. And then again, transitioning over to one side and making your way up. So always taking your time. Make our way into butterfly just to bring in a little bit more grounding. So remembering butterfly, the soles of the feet are together. It's more of a diamond shape than it is like heels really close in towards the ground. Now, sometimes it's nice just to have a bolster on your knees there, letting your torso rest forward. Some people like to do this thing like this, but it never really feels like it works for me. But if it works for you, then do that for sure. The other thing is you can have a little block there supporting your head, or if you've got two blocks you can make it a little higher. Personally with this pose I like to move in like really gradually, so I might come into like, I don't know, 30% of my capacity, a few breaths there, and then just kind of allow. Otherwise we miss out on these really valuable parts of the tension. Like I might even start something like that tonight, rather than just going to that end point where we always go. Actually take the time to really, really slowly move in. And that reminder for us as well that like there's no real place to arrive in these poses. Like we're constantly arriving. It's not like there's a fixed place that we get to one day and then it's never going to change. It's like really the poses are elusive. There is no end point. So this practice teaches us to enjoy the journey, like the arriving there, not necessarily where we get to in the end. Really understanding that this practice is not linear. It's not like day by day we get better and better and better physically. Like some days we come to the mat and our bodies just can't do what we need them to, and they're tired or they need rest. And other days we've got tons of energy, and it's about being really honest with ourselves. And learning to work with these ebbs and flows of energy rather than working against them.
Just another minute to go. Just exploring if there's place to go deeper, maybe for this final minute. Again, we're just meeting that edge of tension in the body where it's not too hot, not too cold, it's just right, just manageable, just enough that we can handle, breathe easy, and stay steady. And so then easing up again, slow, slow, nothing too quick. Coming to lay down onto your back again. So you can keep your knees bent if that feels better in your lower back, or extend your legs out. And again, just a moment to rest there. How heavy do you dare to let your body be? I'm just going to finish with a really brief twist, and nothing too long at all, but bend your knees so that your feet are flat. And take your right ankle across your left knee. We're just going to take the knees over to the left so that the right foot ends on the floor. Now I like to use my left hand there as like a little kickstand, so I have my left elbow on the floor, just holding up the inner edge of my right thigh. You can also hold your right ankle there, that's an option, you should take the right arm out. So you can just let the whole thing naturally kind of happen there, so you don't need to hold anything at all. Maybe your gaze is towards your right fingertips. Just feel for that release on the outer edge of the right hip, thigh. Last breath in here, in through the nose, and the breath out through the mouth. Gradually bringing everything back to centre. Just a moment there to realign the pelvis. And taking the left ankle over the right knee. This time the knees go out to the right as the left foot lands on the floor. And again, choose what you want. So you can have your right hand holding your left ankle. Have a little kickstand there. Just allowing maybe the gaze to move towards the left fingertips. Noticing those remaining pockets of tension in the body. Last few breaths of let go. And from there, bringing everything back to centre. Run the knees into the chest, release the lower back there. Keep the chin tucked. And then releasing the legs for final rest. So you can take the legs out long there. You can also move into legs up the wall. So if you feel as though legs up the wall is a better option for you, go there. Keep your chin tucked. Maybe arms resting by your side. Maybe hands resting on your belly as you take a few abdominal breaths in and out. Preparing for the body to completely let go. need to stay longer, by all means, stay. Starting to bring movement into your body, maybe bringing the ankles together. You take a full body stretch, putting your toes away, length through the side of the body. And just transition onto one side there. Maybe using your left arm or right arm as a pillow. Just helping yourself on up to seated or kneeling. So your hands rest either on your thighs or your knees. Just being aware of this inner stillness that is present now. There's less noise, there's less movement. And how that inner stillness reflects outwards, so there's less external noise, less external movement. But you can come back to this place at any time throughout your day, your evening. Bring your hands to heart. Let's take a deep breath in together through the nose. Long breath out through the mouth. And bow to acknowledge the lineage of this practice and gratitude to each other. Namaste.